Okay, I got to tell you, tonight is actually so refreshing. For the first time in a long time, I mean, almost 2 months it's been since the Sharks not had a victory, but a statement victory. You consider tonight that they scored first, and then they allowed the next 3 goals. But then they tied the game up, and then they won the game in overtime. You had Zach Sawchenko with a milestone. You had the return of Erik Karlsson. You had the figurative return of Tomas Hertl. It had been a while since he had scored a goal. Let's rock a little Sharks night shift. What do you say?
Broadcasting live and worldwide. Here's Brody Brazil.
Nothing like being 2-0 this season against the Los Angeles Kings. I get it. The Sharks have not had a perfect campaign by any means. A lot of setbacks, a lot of struggles. But the LA Kings into tonight had won 3 in a row. They had won 8 out of their last 10. They were on a roll. They are seeking the Pacific Division. They are trying to solidify a postseason spot. Of the 3 California teams, obviously, right now they're the front runners. But the Sharks sent them a message tonight. I think they frustrated the Kings. Los Angeles kept going to the penalty box. I don't even think the Sharks made them pay quite enough. San Jose had 2 power play goals, but it felt like there was room for even another one. As many trips to the bin as Los Angeles was taking. So many great storylines. I think the biggest one is this to start off. That Caps win, I think it was January 26th against Washington in D.C. That was quite honestly the last statement win the Sharks have had. Now, it's not the only one. They've beat the Islanders since then. They've beat the Kraken since then. But winning in this type of fashion where there is character involved, there's resilience involved, I think this tonight is more than just 2 points for San Jose in this game. This is the result and all the feel-good that goes with it. And how about this? They match up so well against Los Angeles. Guess who they get in their next game? And guess who they get 2 games after that? It's a span of 3 games against the Kings out of the Sharks' 4, including tonight. So keep capitalizing, keep taking advantage of it, keep the momentum going during these times. By the way, the other game that's not against LA next week, Joe Thornton's return to SAP Center. There's going to be a lot on the line for that game. Emotions definitely riding high. Let's start off with how the Sharks started this game. They scored first for the 2nd game in a row, which normally if I said that, you wouldn't think it's a big deal. But as of late, that has been a huge challenge for the Sharks. Honestly, since the calendar turned to 2022, opposition teams have been scoring first almost every time. And so to have 2 games in a row where you throw the first punch, I kind of equate it to clocking in at work. You know, you punch your time card. If anybody nobody does that. In fact, most of you watching are like, what's a time card? Anyway, you punch in for work. Your shift begins at work, and you let everybody know. And it kind of feels like when the Sharks score first, they do that. I know you also win like 70-something% of the time when you score first in this league, but it also indicates your, I don't want to say commitment to the game, and it indicates your investment into the game. And so I like it. Whether you win or not, it shows that you've shown up. So the Sharks do that. And how do they get the goal? Well, it's a beautiful pass. Karlsson kind of on his backhand, shoveling it over to Brent Burns, who absolutely unloads. Burns' 6th goal in the season. I know we've talked about this before. Not a high goal total for 88 this year, but he's done so many other things that have been so important. It's not criticism at all. It's just to say that his goal total is less than maybe what you'd expect from Burns, but he's been carrying so much other weight. But Karlsson sets him up there. Karlsson also set up Barabanov for his 9th goal in the season, a minute 21 into the 3rd period. Karlsson was on his game tonight. Now, he said afterwards that the lungs were a bit off still. The breathing wasn't exactly right, and that's to be expected. Karlsson had not played a game since January 20th. Think about this. Erik Karlsson plays his last game late January, undergoes forearm surgery. I mean, I don't care if you call it major, minor, undergoes a surgical procedure and is back within 7 weeks? And played 25 minutes tonight. 2 assists, played the second most minutes on the team, got thrown right back into the fire. I'm here to say that Erik Karlsson was having a pretty good season already. And he went through COVID issues. He went through now the injury and the surgery. And it was frustrating to think that you may have seen the last of Erik Karlsson this season. Clearly now we have not. And he still has a good 25 games left to make his mark on this campaign. Now, I don't know if he can repeat tonight's performance, a 2-point, 2-assist night every game. That would be something. But to see what we saw in Karlsson's game tonight through the rest of this season, if that's possible, and if he truly is healthy and he's feeling better in the forearm that was bothering him all season, if that's going to be fine and he can play up to a certain level, make contributions, but also make his teammates better like he did tonight, that's going to be awesome, and that's going to be part of what is his best overall Sharks season thus far. And it was still an incomplete season, and it was still filled with injury and a surgery. I get it. Like, I'm not saying, oh, this is exactly what everybody wanted. I'm just here to say that he is now in a position to finish this season individually on a high note. And I didn't know if the chance would even present itself. But it definitely seems like it has. Just love to see him out there on the ice, obviously as part of the power play, but just veteran passing. He's got the confidence. It's clearly his puck moving abilities that enhance the Sharks. No question about it. Kind of, I want to say I forgot what it was like to have Erik Karlsson out there, but I think as you look back on this season lately, the Sharks' struggles started before their injury problems mounted, right? You can't say that injuries derailed the Sharks. The Sharks kind of started to derail a little bit, and then injuries made it worse. So I'm not here to say that injuries have thrown them off course, but injuries have hindered them not kind of get back to how they should look. And so that's why in a game like tonight, and for Karlsson to contribute like that, imperative and impressive, to be honest with you, that he was able to jump right back in. So absolutely love to see that tonight. How could I not also start off with Zach Sawchenko? Sawzy, as I called him on postgame tonight, as it also says across his mask. I wasn't just throwing out a guess that was his nickname. I had a legitimate, source, Sawzy. That's what the boys call him. Zach Sawchenko had 4 NHL appearances before last game, which was his first ever NHL start against Anaheim, and he held the Ducks to just 2 goals after regulation. They win it 3-2 in overtime. So he was on that 2 or fewer game through regulation. He gave the Sharks a chance to win last time out at the Pond. Great. And I like the fact that Bob Boughner rewards him, gives him the next start. Tonight against the Kings. You know the role they've been on. Won 3 straight. Won 8 out of their last 10 games. They can score. They're dangerous. And Sawchenko allowed 2 of the 3 total Kings goals tonight within an 8-second span. Phil Deneau, right off the Sawchenko glove. They were able to center it back to Deneau. He's right out front. Kind of an unmanned net. That was unfortunate. And then Andreas Athanasiou with the wicked wrister, his 9th on the season. That was 8 seconds later. And I have to say, when 2 goals are scored 8 seconds apart, basically next shift, same line out there for LA, you're thinking, all right, this is the point where the Sharks wave the white flag in this game. They're kind of surrendering this, not by choice, but it's like, this is the turning point. This is where it all goes bad after here. And the Kings scored the next goal in the game. But my point is, and that was later, but allowing 2 in that short of a span, I think that always opens the door to, have the Kings got to the Sharks or the Sharks goalie? You have to consider that. And they didn't. Honestly, the rest of the night, look how Sawchenko played. I think his performance tonight was interesting in a sense that the goals he allowed were ones that he'll probably especially look back and, of course, regret, what happened, the result, but he'll look back and say that wasn't my best moment tonight. Conversely, he'll look back at the saves he made, some of them, and say, this was absolutely my best work. Now, that's obvious. A goalie would say my goals allowed versus my saves made, but I just think it was the contrast of them tonight. The saves were so good, and the goals allowed were such kind of like slips, But overall, like if we're going to judge on one thing, and I think Curtis said his save percentage was .917, and obviously he allowed 3 goals in 60-plus minutes. The question you have to ask yourself with Sauzy, did he give the Sharks a chance to win again tonight against a very difficult opponent tonight on the road again tonight? Yes, absolutely yes. To the point that on Saturday, when the Sharks come back to the tank, and I don't know what Adin Hill's status or availability is. I know Reimer's gone for a while, but at this point, why wouldn't you start Sawchenko? Now, even if I don't want to rush Adin Hill, or I don't want to make this, some mental game, or, I don't want to play games. Like, look who played well for the last 2. How do you take that away from Sawchenko at this point? Zach Sawchenko had to wait 13 starts in a row that James Reimer made. He was not going to get a crack at a start. He only had 4 mop-up appearances, actually 3 mop-up appearances, and 1 2-minute appearance earlier this year when Reimer had to go out of the game for a couple minutes with an equipment issue, a skate holder issue, a blade holder issue. So Sawchenko did all the right things, an undrafted player in this league, so fantastic that he's getting this chance. And you know what? Limited opportunities, 4 appearances over 2 months. How are you supposed to stay fresh and sharp like that? You're not, but he has been. And that's been so very cool to see. Let's talk a little bit about Tomas Hertl. I made a video on him earlier today. In 15 games, 1 goal, 4 assists. All of those assists were on the power play. -11 in his 15 prior games before tonight. No plus games at all. And I was thinking, like, is the contract stuff, is that leaking in a little bit? And I say that's okay if it was, if it is. Tomas Hertl's a loyal guy. He's got huge decisions to make. We're talking about the future of his career, where he lives. I mean, the Sharks and San Jose are the only NHL team and town that he's known in approximately 10 years. He has grown up so much in San Jose and gone through so much in San Jose. I get it. Like, maybe there's a certain, loyalty aspect that is challenging him, because while he'd love to probably stay in San Jose, I don't know if it's best for his career. I don't know. I hope he'd want to. I'd hope he can see that this team is going to try and retool and put itself and him in a lucrative position sooner than later, but I don't know what he's going to do. Anyway, he also could have some type of injury. He could also just be in a rut in his last 15 games, I think, since the 22nd of January. But just, accounting for human nature, I would not be surprised if that was a part of it. And add in the frustration tonight of the penalty he took in the 3rd period late, that he was not happy. He was chirping the officials going in the box. And then he's the guy that finally gets the wraparound to go. How many times, as Randy said in our show tonight, how many times has Hertl tried that move lately, and he finally got it when it mattered most? He's capable of it, and it's not like he's never done it before. He has. It just had not been working lately on more than one occasion. But on this occasion, it worked, and that's awesome. One other quick point to make before I get into the comments section here, and then I also have a separate rant I want to make about, well, you'll see. The Sharks penalty kill. Wow. It does not get enough credit. It does not get talked about enough, and especially on a night like tonight where the Sharks had 2 power play goals. Like, oh, that's easy. That's sexy to focus in on. 2 power play goals. You took advantage of your opportunities. But how about the Sharks penalty kill? This is a group that's been number 1 in the NHL since the beginning of February. Top PK team in the league in the last, let's call it 5 weeks. And how about this? Randy Hahn mentioned this stat tonight on the broadcast. Since Bob Boughner took over in December of 2019, the Sharks rank 3rd in the league. Now, this is across multiple years, multiple seasons. A lot has changed with different teams. Personnel have changed. The Sharks are 3rd in the league since Bob Boughner took over on the penalty kill. Now, clearly that's an area that is a priority for him, and it's just they've mastered it. They've done quite well on the PK. And I know it doesn't get talked about enough and a lot. And I know there are other things we point to. There are other strengths of the Sharks. There are other weaknesses of the Sharks that all come to attention. I don't know why. I don't know why the PK doesn't get enough love. Now, you don't want to always be on the penalty kill. You don't want to have to rely on your penalty kill. And think about this. Your most important penalty killer is always your goalie. And it really wasn't until this year that the Sharks have really liked their goalie tandem between Reimer and Hill, and now Sawchenko and Stalock. That's a whole nother story. They've had 6+ goalies, right, in this span. I guess going back to Jones and Dubnyk, and I guess it was Jones and Dell the year before that. And then this year, Reimer and Hill, and now Sawchenko and Stalock. I mean, a lot has changed even with the Sharks in terms of the ability to kill penalties from their goalie perspective. But I think it's a great thing to have under your belt to know that if you take a penalty, you're going to be fine. And it's also kind of confusing too, because if the Sharks are so locked down on the PK, I know what you're thinking. What about just flat out being one of the best 5-on-5 defensive teams? What about being so stingy? Like they're not. So I'm not a hockey guy. I don't have that answer for you. If they did, they'd like to share it if they had that answer too. So I don't know. Even strength versus the PK. But I have to say, special teams, when they're shorthanded, they are something special. Okay, I think it's time, after I itch my ear. Man, I had to do that for a long time. I held off on itching my ear. Let me go back. Let me see if I go back to the beginning of the comments here. Feels good having EK65 back in. He didn't miss a beat. Oh, also feels so good that Hertl got that goal. I'm telling you. What do I think the Sharks do with Middleton? He's emerged. In our pregame, Shang Pang talked about other teams being interested and what the Sharks might get in return. I would rather keep Jake Middleton. Personality, contributions, fit in so easily, so nicely. Unless you get offered the world for him, I'm more interested in hanging on to that player. Tito, are you saying you want Tomas to resign? You want him to just quit on the spot? I know what you're saying. You want him to re-sign. I get it. I'm just messing with you. I promise. Barabanov was on fire tonight. Great to see him score the way he did. Hertl, my beloved. Oh yeah, because Hertl's your icon there, Brutus. The power play kill looks good this year. I've never heard of that. The power play kill. It's all the special teams, I guess. We continue to have the second best penalty kill. Yeah, and that's, that's Andrew. Hello from Japan tomorrow. How's Friday afternoon looking, by the way? We have a league second PK unit. We're not good enough at even strength. That's what I was just saying on the video. I know you said that now before I did in real time, but it's amazing, right? It really is. Randy, hello. Thank you for being here. Oh, Laura. Laura was at the... Laura, did you call in, right, last time when I did calls? Yeah, you're from Los Angeles. So you went to the Crypto.com arena. So Brody, always curious about the banter with Brownie. You closer or not? Are we close or not? Is that what you're asking? Hey, the back and forth with me and Curtis. I think most people realize it's shtick. It's what we do. It's what people kind of give us the most comments on, usually of the positive variety. They like a little entertainment. We especially pour it on after wins and, when things are going well. It's been a while since we've got, not just a win. Those have been far in between lately, but also the statement win. Like I said, first real statement win in, let's call it let's call it good 5, maybe even 6 weeks, honestly. Alden, no 7-second delay during the post-game presser, eh? Did I hear 2 profane words, maybe? The answer is no. A lot of times they are recorded and passed down the line, but I don't know that we have the ability to do radio. Radio has the ability to delay things. TV has a much harder time because of the audio and video signal to cut out of something, to delay it. So that's why, when you hear the 7-second delay, which is common in radio, it's amazing. When I used to do radio at 95.7, there's a unit on the rack in the studio, and it's got a big 7.000 on it, meaning that 7-second delay. And you could tune it down or up. You can make it a 14-second delay. You can make it a 2-second delay. And then it's got a big button that says dump, which is kind of a weird thing to have on the button, dump. And if you say that word that you didn't like, you dump it, but you also have to time it out so that you have to do it within 7 seconds, right? So that it dumps from the moment you push it, it dumps the next 7 seconds. It kind of uses a cache, and then it eliminates that cache, and then it slowly builds up that cache over time. Anyway, you didn't need to know all that technicality of it, but on TV, we don't really operate with a delay because, like I said, the video and the audio signal complicate it more. Some broadcasts do, but usually in professional sports, it's not something that we regularly employ. Hello, Felix, current moderator. Hello, Maddie, also current moderator. Brutus is too, so is Caker Girl. Midzi, my beloved. Hertl by my beloved. Are you guys claiming players now? Just everybody stay away from Logan, please. All right? LoganCoutureFanClub.com. I'll take that. Everybody is so beloved tonight. Finally, a win. Hey, it was dad jokish. It was very dad jokish. Alden, seeing Carly smiling was great. Yeah, we went to break that once, and was he hugging Burnsy or something? He was like, "Hey, told you I'm back." I did like seeing that. Barabanov has the sauce. I would agree. I like seeing Barabanov doing well. I really do. Free agent, by the way, unrestricted free agent for the next season. Maddie, now you're talking. Don't forget to smash the like button if you love Hertl comebacks. And as I said tonight, think about this. It's been a rough go for Hertl in the last couple weeks. It has, right? The stuff I'm sure that's keeping him up at night, all that stuff. But how about this? Tomas Hertl against the Kings, a franchise he's had plenty of back and forth with all the playoff series and whatnot. But on that same sheet of ice tonight, where Dustin Brown put a knee out years ago. Was that like 7 years ago now? 8 years ago? Was it 14 when that happened? Or it was 13. I don't remember. But when Brown put the knee out and caught Tomas, I mean, think about it. That's the same building. That's the same rink where that happened. And then he gets to return that type of favor tonight. Mods have the number to call in a question. You know what? We're not going to do. We're not going to do calls tonight. I know it would be fun, but we're not going to do that tonight. Maybe on Saturday. You know what? I will keep that as an idea because tonight I had a couple things I wanted to not only break down with this game, but there is a rant I want to get off my chest. Thank you, Felix, and thank you for moderating. That's a good mod. That's a good mod right there. The number is out there. It's 510-343-3640. So here, watch me do this here. 510-343-3640. So I will put that. See, look at that. When's the next Beers with Brody? It'll soon. It might be baseball though. Like I might have baseball guests on, but just so you know. And I also have another thing which I would really like to do. And you know what? I'm not doing this because the month of March is Women's History Month. I want to celebrate these specific women like every month, especially during hockey season. So let me get to my idea. On Sharks, our producer, our studio producer, our associate producer, our graphics operator, which also is she doubles, Sonia Tydinko, as obviously a presenter, our editor. We have so many females that run the show here. And then the two idiots, Brazil and Brown, on camera for some reason. Anyway, I want to have a next Beers with Brody with all of my female coworkers. And I don't want to make it all about, gender, being a female, but I do want to hear their points on that. Mostly, I just want to hear their perspectives. These are my coworkers. These are people that put on the show. They go in the trenches with us, and I really think that'd be fun for all of you to, for me to actually not talk. Let them talk about our shows, the team, their opinions. Again, these are my coworkers that I always really appreciate. Oh, wheezing lungs, wine with women. No, well. And I won't require them to bring a beer, right? I don't know if is that appropriate to do with your coworkers? You must bring a beer to my live stream, but you could bring a Snapple. I don't really care. I can't wait to, and here's the thing, you don't really get to meet them. Like a lot of people behind the scenes in television, you don't get to see them all the time. So I'd love for you to see them and hear from them, and I hope we can do that. We can put that together soon. Okay. So I put the phone number down here on the screen. Where is it? Oh, there it is right there. 510-343-3640. Not taking phone calls tonight, but this is always a voicemail line. And you can call in right now. If you have a rant, you got something you want to say, ask a question, comment, whatever. Call this number right now. I'm not answering it right now. Leave a message. I'll probably get to it over the weekend. So, White Claws with Brody. Beverages with the Bender. That's pretty good, AJ. Ghost Charm, you're back. You called in last time, right? And now I know you're a voice actor. You've got the silky smooth pipes, which I try and aspire to. Bevs with Brody. See, Maddie's done it. Maddie's done beers with Brody. She gets it. Careful what you wish for. It's going to be a great show. Okay. So, give me a second here. Let me catch my breath for a second, and then let me go in on something for here for a second. Tomorrow, I guess I want to start it like this. March 11th is an anniversary that I'm not even sure everybody's familiar with. You think back on certain dates. And they make like 9/11. You know exactly what that's about. But March 11th, do you know? Do you really know? And maybe you know right now because it's fresh, because it was 2 years ago that date, exactly 2 years ago that date, that the world kind of shut down, at least our world in North America and in the United States. And on a night where the Sharks were playing Chicago, right? It was on national TV. I wasn't working, but I was at home and I found out that, Tom Hanks tested positive for this thing called the coronavirus, which was not new. And I had heard about it and I didn't understand it. And pandemics don't make their way to the United States, but, he's in Australia, and I'm worried about Tom Hanks and his wife. And then the NBA gets shut down, like mid-game. People are panicking. And then the United States announces a travel ban to Europe. All this happening and unfolding, and don't even know what to make of it, really. All unprecedented. I mean, I think a lot of us have had experience with tragedy and even wartime acts, but this was like, what? It's not, we're having a hard time calculating this. I want to share all this almost as like a time capsule, because these have been 2 really difficult years for all of us. And I'm saying this as a person who thankfully has stayed healthy this entire time. I've stayed employed the entire time. And I know that not even all of you watching can say that. And that's just the pandemic. I mean, right now, hopefully we're reaching an endemic phase of this pandemic. A war has started in Europe. And I say war, it's an invasion that's turned into a war, retaliation and war. And then a couple summers ago, for very good purposes and reasons, an entire uprising of social justice and activism and things that needed to be addressed. They were hard things to address, and they're not even, of course, they're not even complete or finished or righted yet. Those things are not settled. But they were difficult things to sift through, get right, deal with. So those are things going on beyond the pandemic. I'm just here to say that of my 40 years of life, wow, these last two have been among the most difficult of times and for some of the longest times. And again, I realize those of you who have had it even worse, if I feel this way, I can't imagine how you feel. I really feel like these last 2 years have brought out the best in people. And I feel like in a lot of ways, they've brought out the worst in people. I'll start with the best. I mean, think about every essential worker and first responder and the people who are actually dealing with the pandemic hands-on and have been. Now, I know we're in better times right now, and I'm not trying to bring us all down in this mood. But again, I'm trying to make this little video here as kind of a time capsule, looking back on how hard it's been. Because I hope 5 years from now, time heals everything. And I look back and I don't remember all this stuff. But I'm here to tell you, future you, Brody, and future all of you, these 2 years that we're on now, they've stunk in a lot of ways. Even at the minimum of like sports had been taken away for so long. And sports was not that. That's not life or death for all of us. But even that has been frustrating. But all the people who have stepped up and done noble things, like those are obviously all the positives. On the flip side, the amount of selfish, stupid, and stubborn acts, I don't even know if I'm blown away anymore when I see something new pop up that's either selfish, stupid, or stubborn, or two of those three, or all three of the above. Those traits have really come out a lot in the last 2 years. Those specific ones, selfish, stupid, and stubborn. In decision-making processes, in attitudes and approaches, in how you treat other people. And it's weird, like the pandemic, it kind of all, until we can move forward and get out of this a little bit, looking back, it's been all kind of one blur. But it really hasn't. The more clarity I get on this over time, it kind of looks like this. There was the whole quarantine period. How did people react to that? What did they do? It's tough. Like it's hard to be disciplined and do the right things all the time. Take care of other people. And then there was the whole vaccine period with continued masking and precautions and who chose to do that, who couldn't do that, who didn't want to do that. And then now we're reaching the reintegration phase of, okay, when to do away with masks and how to have, requirements and keep people safe on a mass level. It's hard. And I'm not here to say that the answers to all of this are easy. Like, oh, you're stupid because you don't follow the rules or you can't understand this. No, this is all hard stuff. It's unparalleled, unprecedented. But I'm just saying that sometimes the outrageous approaches and attitudes have been selfish, stupid, and stubborn. So I'll park that right there. But so many things have popped up. And I am not even going to go down the road of politics in all of this, and in a variety of different ways, right? I'm not even here to my stance on this is it goes like this. My stance is not one way or the other. My stance is this. How divisive all of this has been, and how things like politics and social media have amplified it, have divided, it's drawn a line in the sand. It's pushed some people so far one way, so far the other way. Oh man, it's a headache. It really is. I mean, I have beliefs, I've got practices, I've got things I've done. And I'm not here to make that about me or my preferences. I'm just here to say how two things alone have complicated this problem that we're all dealing with even worse: social media and politics, to an unbelievable degree. So just adding to the whole picture here, it's been a really hard 2 years. And it's amazing that we're at the 2-year mark here. I remember when the pandemic was new and it was the coronavirus, not COVID-19 yet. Nobody really called it that yet. This might slow us down for a couple weeks. Well, here we are 2 years later, and I know a lot of people are not even, like, work is a normal thing in most people's lives, right? You go to work, you show up to work. You got people now who are maybe going to come back after 2 years, maybe. Or we have some people who are never going to go back. And actually I think that's been a positive change for a lot of people, that the realization that jobs will let you do your work wherever you want, and they trust you, and they uphold you to your responsibilities, and you don't have to spend 2 hours a day fighting traffic, wasting time and hours and precious time in your life, and money commuting and car, gas, tires, all that stuff. It is such a treat. If you are one of those people, let me tell you right now how fortunate you are to still be in that situation. It started because it was here to keep you safe. And maybe it's still going for that reason, but most likely it's happening, and it might continue because if you like it and it works well, that it's a possibility. I know not all situations are suited for that, but again, that just goes to show you how not normal we still are. Things are good right now as I record this, at least pandemic-wise. Let's hope that trend continues. So I just want to say, closing out my thoughts on this, really, really rough 2 years. Exactly 2 years. Okay. Ooh, that got deep. We got way away from the Sharks win tonight. We got, I don't want to say we got negative, we got real. I kind of want to see the, Lord, please take the gas out of my stomach and put it in my car. And let me just say this. I also realize there's a lot of people looking at their gas prices lately, and they were already, dramatically high. There's no question about that. But it's a hard look to be overly complaining about that when some people are going in Ukraine through literally one of the worst things in life right now. You know what I'm saying? And the parallel of why those two things are happening is the same thing. So, yeah, I've been to the pump recently. I've seen what $85 looks like of gas being pumped out. I'm not a fan of it either, but yeah, this is real time with Brody. So anyway, Tito, I appreciate that. It really means a lot, and I wanted to record this tonight, being that tomorrow's that anniversary. I'm going to make this its own separate video for tomorrow. And you know what, Ryan, you're in Vegas. We lifted masks and it's been so weird. Well, look, I hope at some point, and I've obviously been pro-mask a lot and had to wear them on TV for a while and wanted to. I do wear them in my personal life, and I have a child, can't get vaccinated yet. So taking as many precautions as possible. It's a small price to pay. I just hope we get to the point where it's okay to not do it. And the research and the numbers and the stats confirm it. I know it's weird. It's weird because this has gone on so long. That's why it's weird. So, all right. I'm going to, stream for a long time tonight. How do I get this off the screen? All right, let me just recap what happened tonight. The Sharks, they rolled into Los Angeles, opposing a Kings team that was in second place in the division, won 3 in a row, won 8 out of 10 on their home ice. They were probably still ticked off that Timo Meier scored 5 times the last time these two teams met back in January. Sharks score first. Great. Kings score the next 3. Not great. Looked like LA had turned the corner on this game. Looked like it was theirs for the taking. Sharks battle back. They tie it on a Bonino power play goal in the second. Sorry, they put it within 1. Then they tie it in the third. Barabanov from Erik Karlsson, one of his 2 helpers tonight. And of all people, Tomas Hertl, under some stress, under some real-life trade talks, he's the guy on the wraparound that wins the game for the Sharks. Hey, thumbs up on this video if you liked it. I appreciate that. And until next time, probably Saturday, take care of yourself. I will see you then. All right? Good night.